Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's hobby live stream. I've got some behind-the-scenes action for you today as we paint and I work on something that I'm going to be showing off this Friday in my hobby tutorial. Hope you guys are excited for this. I know I am. I've been working on the Imperial Guardsmen that go with this Ordinance already, and they are complete. You'll get to see them Friday, but I figured today we work on the Ordinance itself. This big gun, it fits me totally, so we'll get started on that very shortly. Before we do though, one, I'm gonna turn the music down for myself very slightly, because, goodness, I can't hear myself. There we go. Hopefully that has not made it too soft for you guys. Do let me know in the chat how everything is sounding. Do I sound good? Is the music at a good volume from everybody? And also, since this is a hobby live stream, please do also tell me what you're currently working on. Do you got some Warhammer on your table? You got some Star Wars Legion, perhaps? Maybe you're working on some Marvel Crisis Protocol.
Some Crisis Protocol?
Crisis Protocol. I said that because you actually startled me. I did not see or hear you, like, at all.
Just dropping the video, the music audio there.
Okay, good.
There we go.
Well, was it loud for them too?
Yes.
Got it. Excellent. Oh, well, thank you, David. Welcome to the live stream. I am glad you're already loving what you're seeing. Today, we're painted some Imperial Guardsmen. I'm going to go ahead and get started on this. The only thing you guys, hold on, might be able to tell that I've painted are one of my bro's hands, because they're attached to this part, not him. I will be connecting them shortly, but I've already done that section, but we haven't painted anything else on this. So I think I'm going to start with everything that I want to be a gray, using Basilicanum Gray, my go-to for non-metallic. I need to shake this up very thoroughly. I might scoot slightly off camera to use my vortex mixer. Yep. Ooh. Oh. There we go. Now it's a little bit more emulsified, which is good. Hello, Lion. Welcome, welcome. Michael, welcome as well. And Nathaniel, welcome. It's glad to have you back. Gentlemen, hope you are doing very well. Yes, absolutely. It was, sir, it's me. Of course the innuendo was intentional. Our innuendo is always intentional. We've made a lot of it over the years, actually, on this channel. So when I actually opened up my not safe for work stuff, and I got people being like, I'm so shocked you're doing this, I was like, really? Really? Are you actually shocked that I'm doing this? Because have you paid attention to my content? Like, I'm not exactly, like, wholesome, specifically. Like, I'm optimistic, I'm friendly, but I'm not exactly wholesome. And so, yeah. Where am I, Land? You are on the Hobby Night live stream. Welcome. Hope you're having a good time. We are painting some Imperial Guardsmen. I'm shaking up some paint right now, getting very distracted. But we're going to open this pot up and get started, because I have an Ordinance to paint. This should hopefully not, like, I'm hoping the 2 hours I'll be able to finish this. Once I'm done painting it, I'll do the assembly, but then I'm going to be doing some weathering, and I'm very excited for that. I hope you guys will be too. Hello from New Zealand. That's exciting. New Zealand is one of those countries I would absolutely love to visit. And not just because of all the Lord of the Rings stuff there. Because I feel like that ends up being a big reason a lot of people want to go there. But I just think it looks gorgeous. Alright, let's flip this around, get the other wheel. I'm not going to be worried about being too clean or anything on this, because honestly, I'm going to weather it up, and I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I also love that there's some actually moving parts on this. So both of these shift, like they can be positioned however you want them to be, which is nice. And this also moves, so you can actually close that. And there are some spare of the ammo that you would actually load into this. There are some spare ones that I think you could actually literally put inside. I don't have any of those like painted up or built, but except for the ones that are in the case, but they're glued in, so. Ooh! Michael, you're working on a Blood Bowl team for the Undead and for Dark Elves. Both excellent Blood Bowl teams. Very different teams. I've not run Dark Elves in Blood Bowl, but I have run the Undead. Are you painting up... So, specifically, are you doing the new ones? The Necromantic Horrors? Or are you painting up the old classic Undead team with the bat helmets? Because I love both. I love both immensely. That is so cool that you live that close to where Lord of the Rings was set. That is amazing. Do you go there often, or are you like totally burned out on it because it's just overhyped in your opinion, or do you absolutely love it? I think I personally would absolutely love it. I think that'd be really cool, but I also just like nature, so I think being in New Zealand would be really neat because you just have like gorgeous landscapes everywhere. Hello, Supersonic. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. Hope you are doing well, sir. Whoa, that's a little bit more pooling than I want. Thank you. Let's move that paint around. There we go. Move a little bit of that paint around too. Again, I'm not worried about cleanliness here because I'm gonna weather the crap out of this, and it's an artillery gun. Like, it should be wet, like worn and everything. So I'm thinking outside of the wheels, or the interior, that like rim area, what I also want to have end up being gray is these here, because I'm gonna have a lot of this be green to go with the Astra Militarum coloring that I've been doing. But I want some things to stand out a little bit more. So I'm gonna make these, well, not stand out specifically, but just be different in coloring. Yep, it was filmed in New Zealand. That is absolutely correct, Neil. Or at least, like, the majority of it. I don't know if all of it was, but, like, I think, like, the major stuff was. I know, like, the Shires built in New Zealand, and, like, I'm pretty sure all of it was filmed there. Oh, and Supersonic, he is doing a lot better today, thankfully. He gave me such a fright yesterday, and it made working on painting incredibly difficult because he wasn't eating, and it was freaking me out because this is, like, he is a hungry boy, and he really does not normally like to miss meals. And he skipped, like, 3 meals yesterday. Thankfully, this morning, whatever was bothering him seems to have passed because he was eager for food. He still doesn't seem like he quite has his full appetite back, so I'm still monitoring him to make sure he continues to improve, but he's eaten twice today so far, so I'm a little less worried about him than I was yesterday. But, like, good lord, it just, you know, when, I don't know how many of you guys have pets, but I'm very attached to my pets. I've got 2 cats. I love both of them to death, and because I have been basically work from home with them since the lockdown happened, and literally have not gone back to a job that would take me out of the home, I am around them constantly, so they are very attached at this point. Like, so sometimes you guys will hear me complain on stream that, especially my girl cat will, like, just freak out and start meowing. 'Cause she really, I think, loves watching television with the Chaos Cultist and I, if I'm honest. Because we noticed that she, like, actually watches the TV when we have YouTube on, because we just watch YouTube. And so, like, or actually, like, she'll do it when we watch, like, Mandalorian and those kinds of things, too. But, like, because we watch mostly YouTube, whenever we have that on, it doesn't matter what it is. If we're out there with her and she's on the couch with me, she will be, like, if she's not asleep, she'll be, like, watching it with us. So I think sometimes when we go to, like, play games, or if we disrupt that schedule she's set herself up for, she gets really irritated, and she will just meow constantly. That might be the reason why, your dog's not behaving that way, yes. Absolutely. Hello, Sarah Games! Or the Sarah Games, sorry. How are you doing, my dear? Yes, kitty news. He is doing better. He is doing a lot better. He is eating again, which was the big concern. But he's still being monitored because I'm not convinced he's fully healthy yet. But he is definitely improved from yesterday, because yesterday, he just did not want to eat, and that is not like him at all. He is my hungry lad. Just wants to eat all of the time. Let's get those little sprockety little things, like the little iron... Oop, oh. Fixed it. Oh, there he is! Hello, little boy! Oh, here he is. See, say hello to everybody. No, you don't want to? Hi. Hello. I am feeling better. My tummy was hurt, and I wasn't feeling hungry, and it really worried Mom. I'm very glad he's feeling better. Like, he really, like, he was hiding yesterday in the office and didn't want to come out. He doesn't want to be with me right now. He's like, I still don't feel good. I don't want to be on camera, Mom. I'm gonna leave. But yes, he is feeling a lot better. Patrick, you said you also just built up an Ordinance gun. Did you go with the same one that I went with, or did you go with one of the other ones? I literally just picked what I thought looked coolest. Because that's how I build all of my models. I go for the rule of cool, and no one will ever be able to tell me that's not the correct way to do it. Sorry, there was a little, like, tiny bit that I was like, I don't know if I can do this on camera and not fuck something up. Alright, there we go. Well, thankfully... Yeah, no, cats are very schedule-oriented and very dependent. I completely agree. Having two that are very on a schedule, and it's their own schedule, it's not mine. Like, I have tried to get them on, like, where I want them to be fed, and that is not how it works. They will meow incessantly until I feed them when they want it, and I'm like, fine. So I actually shifted their schedule to fit more when their normal meowing happens, and it's been a lot quieter, which has been very, very good. Alright, so I think what I want to do next is I'm going to paint up the, this thing that he's going to be sitting on. Because the metal beneath it, it's going to actually end up being green, so I want it to kind of stand out, even though you really probably won't be able to see much of it, because there will be a guardsman's butt sitting in there, doing his damn job, firing this gun. But I still want it to be a slightly different color. And I'm not going to worry about painting the bottoms of many things. Like, I will get some, but, like, the majority of, like, this stuff down here, I didn't even prime it, because I'm not... I mean, that's where an attachment points are going to go, so... And nothing, you're never going to see this, because it's going to be stuck to the base, so there's really no point. And why waste the paint on it? Right? Right? Dude, Rabbit Burner, I am totally there with you. Rule of cool is always how you should pick your models or your armies. Because in my experience, the rules are going to change so frequently and consistently enough that it's not really going to be worth, like, hyper trying to pick out whatever is, like, the most optimal. Unless, I guess, you are just that tournament-oriented and you really, really want to, like, do, like, the actual grand tournament scene and such. Okay, I'm going to switch to a slightly bigger brush, actually, because I'm going to paint the barrel of the gun, and while I don't mind a little bit of splotchiness with this, I don't want it to be overtly so. So, I might... Oh, you're still dealing with COVID? I'm so sorry to hear that, Sarah. That really, really sucks. Whenever something lingers like that, I can completely understand. It's always incredibly frustrating. I'm so sorry. I hope that, like, actually clears for you sometime soon. Alright, I think we're going to do this thin so that I can double layer it if I feel like it's too light. But what I'm thinking is I'm going to do the long portion of the barrel and this back portion in gray. And then I'm going to do this ring here in black. So, like, this is going to be in black. And then this stuff on top will also be gray. That way, there's a little bit of color variation in there, but not too much, and then it'll sit on something that's green. So let's go ahead and go for it. Oop. Oh, It won't be too bad. I'm going to be painting that black, so whatever. Okay, we're looking good. We're looking good. Alright, I think that's looking good. We are going to weather the crap out of the barrel, so... Why are you doing that? Are you not... Hold on. I'm noticing... Okay, do you guys see... You guys see what's happening a little bit there? You see how it's kind of pulling away? I don't know if that's because my primer is, like, behaving oddly or what. At least it's on the bottom. I'm not going to worry about it. I'll let it dry and then I'll just add more paint. And I'm going to do the inside of that a little bit to give it a... Make it look a little bit like stuff's been firing out of it. We'll do some more work on that with the weathering powders, I think. Alright, on top of that, let's go ahead and... Yeah, I agree with the 2 cats thing that Sarah's recommending. I definitely think they need companionship, for sure. Doesn't necessarily have to be another cat specifically, depending on like what type of cat you get. I do feel like they do fine if you have a dog and they're, you know, a little bit more friendly. But if you have somebody like my girl Kita, who hates everyone, and doesn't like other animals being close, then okay, maybe not a dog. Maybe get a cat because they'll be more likely to probably chill with them. But like my boy Jack, if we had a dog, he'd be fine with the dog. He'd probably eat that up, actually, because Kita really does not want to play with him, and he gets sad about it sometimes. I think I'm going to do both that and that in black, and then this back portion is going to be in gray. Yes. I should actually pull that up. There we go. Make sure we can get all around it instead of just one angle of it. Flip it this way so you guys can actually see what the hell I'm doing a little bit better. This is technically for the tutorial. Which I hope you guys have been enjoying that, getting to see like some of the behind the scenes stuff. I'm trying to do it a little bit more. I just think it'd be fun way to, you know, engage you guys and also get stuff worked on while making other content out of it. I think it's a win-win for everybody. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Oh, well, thank you, James. Thank you. I really appreciate you saying that. I spent many, many years trying to hone these skills. I just realized, I'm like, okay, I need to be very careful, actually, around those hands so that I don't get gray paint on it. I think if you just keep at it and don't give up, you'll definitely... Oop. Also, don't put your hand directly on the thing you just painted. You will definitely see improvement, and then you'll just see your skills go up, and the more that you see that, it'll encourage you to keep improving, and that's kind of where I'm actually at with my painting right now, is like, I feel good, like, I feel like I can paint pretty well, but I'm wanting to, like, I'm at that point where I'm ready to take the next step, which is why I've been playing with the weathering powders so much, because I want to just continue to expand the tools and materials that I'm working with, and actually combining them and to make these really cool stellar pieces with still not as much effort as I feel like it was made out to be when I was first introduced to the hobby. Because that's the thing that always, like, just really turned me off from it, was just how long certain things seemed like they took. Right? Such a good time. Oh, nice. Contrast paints on the Blood Bowl miniatures, Michael, are going to be great. I also just realized, hold on, where is my mouse? Hold on, I need to scooch off camera for a second to grab my mouse. Try not to roll over my blanket because I'm cold. It's raining again. We had like a brief moment of sun, and then it started raining again. Let me move that so that I can use my mouse. Because I actually think, I want to make sure. Okay, Michael, so since it has ghosts, I'm assuming it's the necromantic horrors then, right? Like, is it the literally ghost dudes? Or are you substituting, like night haunts or something for it? That's really, really cool. What colors for the glowing color tone, are you using, oh, what is it? What is the new, not that one. Woo! I almost just dropped a paint pot into my water. Are you using the Hexwraith Flame, or are you going more of a blue color tone? I can't remember if the ones in Lord of the Rings are blue or green. I think they're blue, actually, right? So, like, a blue-white? That would look really cool, I imagine. Okay, that is looking pretty good. I need to paint that section where the ammo gets loaded, because I didn't actually finish painting it. Whoops. I just painted the top and then was like, that's enough. You don't need to do anything else. Try not to get too much on the very bottom thing, because that's actually going to be green. Yes. Alright, I feel like that is looking pretty good. What else do I want to make gray? Anything? Oh, I forgot to paint this. Shoot. Do you ever look at when you're painting, like, for those of you that paint with contrast paint, do you ever look at it and you're like, you've got one color on the model and then that's the only thing you have going on, and you're like, this looks so sloppy, and then as soon as you get other colors on, everything starts looking less sloppy and you're not having to worry about it as much? Okay, they were green aqua. Okay, I couldn't remember if they had more blue or more green in them, so very cool. Yeah, no, I bet it would. I love, like, honestly, I love those colors. Greens, teals, aquas, blues. I mean, really, I just like all colors. I'm not gonna lie, I really do. I use them all the time. That's why if you look at my orcs, they literally have the rainbow on them with the exception of, I think, purple. Like, purple's the only color I haven't really used on my orcs yet. And that's because I feel like since orcs actually have themes and, like, attributes tied to color, I don't actually want to use purple on anybody but somebody who would be sneaky, because purple's a sneaky color. But yeah. Alright. Anything else that needs to be gray? I've got the seats. Oh, the petals. Pedal to the metal. I'm gonna make the petals gray, actually. Because they may have once had paint on them that was green, but it's, like, worn off. Maybe I'll do a slight glaze of Militarum green over top of it to give that effect a little bit more of a clear indicator. But I also kind of like the idea of it just being gray to be more like, hey, guardsmen, pay attention to this. This is your pedal. Because, yeah, I'm going to make that one green, but I think the actual footrest pedal should be gray. I'm also, like I said, I'm not normally going to do the undersides, but because this is the seat and I feel like you could see through it and it looked weird, I'm going to just do that. Yeah, see, there's some stuff in here and it's looking strange. Just dab paint into the holes. There we go. This is probably completely useless because his butt's going to be there. It's not going to even be seen that much. But that's fine. Alright, I am going to do a second thin layer over the barrel just to clean it up a little bit and help with a little bit of that splotchiness that was happening, like that weird like separation. Is it still doing it? Kind of looks like it a little bit. Oh, and then we should paint that wheel actually gray too. We've done all the other ones that way. Should keep it consistent. Some things deserve to be uniform. And with the Imperial Guard, I feel like that's definitely a must. Oh, always paint underneath the... I see, the point, like, the thing is, though, is, like, it's gonna end up being on a base glued down. And you're not gonna be able to, like, with a base, like, you know, here's, pretending it's my phone. Like, you may be able to paint, like, see it a little bit. Like, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I'll do a light coating of gray. Will that make you feel better? It'll hide everything. Or, I guess, green, because I did prime it. But, like, I'm not gonna worry about it too much. It'll get a single coating, and that'll be it. Alright, this is, I think, the last thing that needs this color. And then I'm going to switch over to the black for the tires. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. You're pulling way too much. Played a weird bubble there. Contrast paint's weird sometimes with how it, like, fills in gaps in the model. It just, like, really wants to... I've had small spaces like this. Oops, sorry. I've had small spaces like this that have filled in with like a bubble of paint where I've not noticed it, and then you actually get like a film, and I've been able to pop them after they've dried and like scrape them away. It was awful. I don't recommend it, but that definitely happened to me once, and it was I did not like it. Okay, that is looking honky-dory. Should I do... You know what? I'm gonna do the TV... like, the backside in gray. But have the front be in the army green, because they, like, tried to make it look fancier. It also kind of looks like it's, like, in a case inside this, so maybe the casing that it's in is gray. Yeah, or sorry, is green. And then, do I want to make the panel gray? No, I think I'm going to do that in green. I am going to make this little handle, though, in gray. There we go. Okay, that looks good. Do all that in green. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good about this. I'm not seeing any obvious, like, gaps or missed spots. So I'm going to let that finish drying. And then I'll move on to my black paint. We'll just be using Black Templar on. I am also, like... I've gotten to the point when I've been painting of, if it's not something that's going to be super easily noticeable or, like, even visible at a distance, because normally when I'm looking at these models, I'm not doing a full 360 inspection of them, right? Like, I am when I'm painting them, sure. But when you're actually playing with them, you're not. You have them on a table, you move them occasionally, but as long as they're looking great from top down or, like, from the side a little bit, I mean, call it done, guys, and just move on to the next miniature. Because no one's going to, like, unless you are submitting to an actual painting competition where your model is likely to be handled and picked up, which I don't even know if the judges actually do that or they just look at them from a 360 walk around and don't actually physically uplift them, because that could cause them to break or get damaged, and then, you know, that no one wants that. No one wants that. Then, like, why, like, don't worry about it. Like, only paint what you know is going to be seen. If it's not going to be seen, why bother? think I remember what's in the Lord of Skulls box. Is that the one with the World Eaters? Is that the... Or am I, like... I will admit, I've not been, like, as up-to-date with 40k because I haven't been enjoying 9th edition. So I don't remember all the specific names of the recent sets. Excellent. Okay. I think it's dry enough. I know the wheels definitely are. So let me get my black Templar shook up. And we will continue painting. And then we'll get to the green part, which is going to be the fun part. I'm looking forward to that. Alright. Let's paint some tires. I have some plans for these tires when it comes to the weathering. What I've done with my base is I've gone with my classic Armageddon Dust, but this time I've done a... oh my god, words! Agrath's Earthshade, the darker brown, and use that as my wash, and I really laid it on because I was looking at what I had done on Colonel Colum. Am I saying his name correctly? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But the Colonel from Gaunt's Ghosts that I painted up freaking last year, a long time ago, feels like ages. I looked up what I did on his base, and then I physically looked at his base because I have him upstairs. And at first I was like, is this is seriously Stirland mud? I think it might be, but I'm not going to do Stirland mud on this because honestly, on bigger bases, I feel like Stirland mud doesn't spread super well. Like I feel like I'd have some problems. So what I did instead, because I really made his on Columns, I made his look really compact, like compact earth, rather than it being muddy looking. Kind of ignoring the mud part of the bottle, honestly. So it was really like smooth and kind of just rough looking, like it had been pounded on by like a bunch of men's feet for like ages and ages. So I kind of did the same thing here, and so I did the Armageddon Dust and then an Agrath's Earthshade wash, and then I just used Talaran Sand to like brighten up some of the like texture that I got in there. I love the way that it looks. And I think because of that, I'll be able to play with a lot of the brown and like sand-colored weathering powders from Tamiya and applying those to everything, and it's going to be glorious. I'm very excited for it. I've really, really come to like weathering a lot. Mostly because I don't feel like it requires that much extra effort, and then you get really neat results with it. Paint a little bit more there, because I don't remember exactly where the tires touch. I guess I could check. There we go. Yeah, I kind of left a spot for it. Let's flip it around. Thankfully, they're slightly raised above the ground, so it's not actually getting paint on my table. Woo! The problem is I don't really use opaques that much. Like, I know German Gray. I have, I don't know if I have... I don't think I currently have it in my collection, but I remember getting some from Vallejo at one point when I was doing some reorders. It was one of the few colors that they did actually keep consistently in stock. Go figure. And it's a lovely color. I completely agree with you. But yeah, I don't often use opaques as much. I like working with contrast and then building up colors on top of them because I feel like it just goes faster for me. It's also less effort because I don't have to water my paints down as much. I feel like with opaque paints, I have to really work to get them to flow in a way that doesn't feel clumpy. Which is one of the reasons I actually gravitate towards speed paint and contrast paint and that kind of stuff so much. Because when I very first started getting into painting, back in 5th edition, I was working, obviously contrast paint didn't let me try that sentence again. Contrast paint didn't exist yet. No, and everybody was like, this is the only way that you can paint miniatures. And I tried it and I hated it. Like, I will just be honest. I hated the base coat highlight, wash, like, formula. I found it really dull, and I just did not enjoy it, so I kind of stopped painting, and I didn't get back into it until, 8th edition, and I was getting into painting, still wasn't really feeling the opaques and almost fell back out of it again, but then they announced contrast paint, and I was like, okay, I'm going to hold off and see, because these are behaving in a way that remind me of the stuff and materials that I actually like to work with art, like inks, and for some reason, it never actually crossed my brain at that point to actually try inks on miniatures, even though it clearly would have worked fine, because I see people do it all the time now, but it just wasn't something that was really, like, talked about or encouraged in that community, and so it was really weird. I was at the same point with weathering too, of like, I didn't really quite believe, one, that it worked quite as well as it, you know, some people made it look like it did, and then I wasn't sure if I would like enjoy it, but it's weirdly just freeing because you can be rough with it. I mean, it's weathering, right? The intention of this is to make something look either worn or dusty, or like it's been beaten up by weather or age, right? And so I find, I needed a little bit of gray. I found some sections on these things that I missed. I find that, like, it just works better than I expected. And it doesn't add that much more time to my process. So that's why I've been going for it. And I have no idea if I'm doing it, like, optimally or in the best possible way or even correctly. But I'm having fun, and that's really the point. And what I've been doing so far I've liked, and it's stuck, so I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, no, that's fair. And I, like, the watered down paints thing I get, but, like, it's so, I am inconsistent about my like, water to paint ratio, and so I always found it incredibly frustrating to find a good consistency, so I didn't like it. Whereas, you know, contrast paints, they're all roughly the same fluidity already. So I kind of know what I'm going into, and then I just can gauge how much water I want in comparison to that better than I can with an opaque paint. I don't know why. It's just like a visual thing or something for me, I think, but I don't know. It's just this, I never liked the classic way. That's true. Weathering can also cover up like a rougher paint job. If you're not really feeling your paint job, you don't like the way that it's going. If, you know, you really don't like it, you can definitely weather it to hide or manipulate that to look more intentional, which is, I think, a perfectly valid reason to weather. Like, there is nothing wrong with that. I'm gonna get the inside of the tires just a smidge. Do need a little bit more paint, though. Oh, yeah, no, it can look absolutely stunning. I mean, and you don't have to go super extreme, either. I feel like some people are like, if I'm gonna weather, I have to go crazy with it. I'm like, no, you can be kind of, like, basic with it. Like, when I weathered Luke, I just did some very simple snow weathering. And just, that's it. And I think it looked great. It got the effect I was going for, but it didn't end up being, like, this suddenly 3-hour process I was adding onto my paint job, which is just, I don't know. I spend enough time painting and I really enjoy it. I don't want to, like, prolong it in a way that's going to make it unenjoyable, because then I'm not going to want to do it. We missed a little bit over here, so let me, and by we, I mean I. You guys are not here. You're not controlling the brush. It is all me. I am the master. That's not true at all. I am still but just an apprentice. Because I'm fucking Sith. Literally. Literally. All right. I am feeling pretty confident with how that's looking. I guess I should maybe paint the inside of the wheels gray just to cover it up. Just slap some paint on there real fast. Whoop, well, that's a little bit too much paint. Holy shit, Angela. Spread that around, please. Okay, I might have gone a smidge overboard with that. Let's Let's just pull some of it over here. Alright, that is feeling better. So we're just going to let the black and the gray dry. And then we'll come in and we'll do a very tiny cleanup. Because there's a couple places where I got a little overboard with my gray. And I do want to tidy it up a smidge because the green, I think I want to be kind of crisp looking. Oh, actually, I'm so sorry. I said we were going to do some black on this gun, and I ignored it. I was wondering why it looked so weird. Okay, what I'm thinking, because I've changed my mind a little bit since I said that, I'm going to do this section. I have way too much paint on my brush. I could tell. It was, like, bloated with paint. Oh, hold on. Let me get actually on screen. There we go. Hello, John. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. Oh, well, thank you. I'm so glad you think it's that good. Like, I really appreciate that. I really do think anybody can achieve what I do. Like, I really don't feel like what I'm doing is super special or challenging. So I definitely think people can absolutely get these exact same results. It's just a matter of trying similar tools. All right. Yeah, we're going to do this in black. I'm going to set it down on the ground really quick, guys, just to give myself a little bit more stability as I'm holding this. So I'm a little bit cleaner. I know it might be a smidge blurrier for you. Deal with it for a minute. Alright, that is looking good. Let's do this side. Try not to be super messy, if I can help it. Okay, that looks decent. Let's get the underside. Alright, I'm gonna let that dry, see how it looks, see if it needs another coat. We'll do the cleanup. We'll get on to the Militarum green. This is awesome. I'm very happy. Exactly. You can totally, I completely agree with you, Michael. You can completely do as much or as little weathering as you want, because in nature, you're absolutely right. It's totally random. Now, it can be controlled depending on the setting. Like, if you're doing a diorama where it's indoors and the windows are intact and such, like, you can make some judgments and try to do maybe less inside because there'd be less likely to be dirt there, and then do more outside because there's more likely to be dirt there. But yeah, you can kind of go however you want with it. Like, just do what seems natural and kind of have fun, and that's really, really how I like to treat it. Nuclear Kid, welcome. Hello. Oh, you just painted a Messerschmitt. Okay, so I'm not familiar with that word or that name. Please fill me in on what kind of diorama specifically that is, because that sounds amazing. You said it's bullet ridden and burned out, which sounds awesome. I bet you had a bunch of fun with some weathering powders there, because like you can get some really cool effects, especially around like a nice like bullet hole. Like, oh man, I want to paint. I need to put on my schedule at some point soon a terrain video that involves also weathering powders. I still have a couple of my orc terrain pieces from like when I started that army like last year or a year and a half ago or whatever, that I still have not actually painted. And if I get them painted up, like a whole episode on just like having fun weathering that could be really cool. I'll have to think about it, because I actually really like that idea. Like, I don't know, terrain and weathering seems like they just go hand in hand. Oh, okay, some fighter planes from World War II. That's what I thought it might have been, but because I moved around a lot when I was growing up, I actually accidentally skipped certain sections of history, like world history, and World War II is actually one of them. So I never formally learned about it. Everything I have learned about World War II has come from just reading up on it. Because because I went to different school districts in totally different states, their like structure for when students learned certain histories were in different grades, and I ended up missing the grade in the school that I graduated from's history class that actually involved that era of world history. It's very frustrating sometimes for me because people will reference things and like they should be relatively common things, and I'm just like over my head because I just never learned that and then did not like read into it until like much later. And so I don't even know if I've gotten everything. Oh, that's so cool sounding. Also really traumatizing sounding. But also like I can imagine it and I can see how cool that would look. Okay, so with the crash plane, did you on dioramas, I love when people do smoke effects with like I guess cotton balls and such. I'm not actually sure the full process for how it gets done, but I love that kind of stuff. Do you have any of that on your diorama? Oh, I'm sure there's plenty of different YouTube channels that I could pick up like information about World War II. Absolutely. Ooh, a Crash X-Wing or TIE Fighter diorama would be great. Ooh, it could actually be really fun, too, because I could use... I could use the pre-painted ones from X-Wing. Like, actually, like, the game X-Wing. And then I could just weather them, and that would be, like... And I could dry brush them to, like, make them more battle-aged. But that way I have a foundation of color to work on top of, and I could really focus on the diorama build and then making it look badass rather than having to, like, paint everything. Because I don't know, are there unpainted? Because Legion doesn't have vehicles like that. They don't have flyers. So, and Armada and X-Wing are both pre-painted, if I remember correctly. Like, they don't do unpainted versions of those miniatures, right? Yeah, America's not like that, unfortunately. They really, I mean, they try to be sometimes, but... having gone to enough schools in enough different states, it's crap. It ain't good. At least not all of them. There are some, but it's really mixed. It's really mixed. Okay, I think this is dry enough. So I'm going to bust out my Wraithbone real quick, because that's what I primed the sucker up in. We have a tiny bit of cleanup to do. Let's get some of that on my palette. Thin it down a little bit so that it's not getting everywhere. And then make sure that I'm on camera. So we'll paint up right here because we got a little bit of gray where I didn't want it. Be extra careful not to hit the hands while I'm doing this. I also want to take care of a little bit of this. Originally, I thought this was going to end up being black, but I think I want it to be green. So it's a little too dark. There we go. Sorry, I got really into the music we were listening to for a second, so I was just like zoning out, fixing this up and going like, I really like this sort of choir that's serenading me in my brain. Ooh, nice. Well, thank you, Annie. I am so glad that you're loving the channel. What are you thinking about right now for 10th edition? Are you going to go with one of the starter set groups, either Space Marines or NIDS, or are you going to go with something totally different? And that goes for everybody. Is anybody changing up what army they're going to be running with the 10th edition announcement? Are you guys sticking with your current armies? Are you going to be picking up the new guys? what are your plans? I am definitely going to be starting a new army. I have not decided fully yet if it's going to be the Marines or the Nids. Whatever I don't do, Chaos Cultist will do the other. And I'm not gonna lie, you guys, I'm really tempted to just take the Nids from him. I feel a little bad about that because I feel like I make Chaos Cultists get stuck with the Space Marines a lot. But every time, like, I keep going, like, but Dark Angels sound really cool. I'd love to do some Dark Angels. Like, I do really like them, and I could just, like, buy some of the extra packs that give me the cool fancy shoulders and give me, like, the really cool helmets because I really like the night look. But then I think about it, and I'm like, I really don't enjoy painting Space Marines, though. I find them so generally, like, unless they are a named character or like lieutenant or captain or something where they've got a bit more going on, the generic boys, you know, your basic troop choices, they are the most boring to me to paint because they are so clean and uniform. It's why I tend to lean towards chaos when I do go Space Marine. I want somebody that has a bit more variety. And so like I just really get turned off by them, even though there are some Space Marine chapters that I absolutely adore. Like, I love the lore, I love the look of them, I think they're badass, but god, the idea of painting them just dulls me. So I'm really tempted to take the Nids, because I think they're going to be a lot more interesting to paint. I'll probably be painting both on the channel, like, I'll still end up painting a bunch of Space Marines. I just don't enjoy them for myself as much as I do, like, painting them, I guess, for, like, other people. I don't know. It's so weird. I have such a weird relationship with Space Marines as a model and as a hobbyist. Like, love them to death in the lore, but good lord, as a hobbyist, like, they just sometimes they bother me. But they do have some pretty cool new looking models. I haven't painted a lot of the newer models, and I think that's part of my problem. I am really focusing on like the Firstborn when they were a lot more humdrum and like same as everybody, and I feel like they're a little less that now. Ooh, finishing your Voton nuclear kid would be very cool. Very cool. I also think they're going to be a early. Well, I'm hoping so. I hope they get an early update because I feel like people are really enjoying them right now, so might be a good choice. Any you're thinking about salamanders? That would be so fun. Are you gonna do like anything where like Cromlech and a couple other places I think make add-on kits and such for stuff like salamanders, so you can end up getting some like dragon skull or some dragon helms and like dragon shoulder pads a bit cheaper than if you were to like try to get the ones that GW sells? Are you gonna do something like that, or are you just gonna stick with the standard helm and pauldron setup? Because I would be tempted to do one or the other. I do like the fancy upgrades that you can get from various companies. I call out Cromlech specifically because I am an affiliate of theirs. So if you ever do want to shop with Cromlech, there's always a link in my video description where you can use the code. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. I should probably write it down somewhere where it's more easily to access. But there's a code that you can use and save 5% on any of your orders there. So just small plug. This is not a sponsored thing, but I do. It helps the channel out when you use that affiliate link. So feel free to when you are shopping with them. All right, that is looking good. I want to finish cleaning this up because I'm going to make this green. That's what I was doing before I got totally sidetracked on looking at what projects you guys might be doing for 10th edition. Is anybody going to be doing NIDS? Red Green 09, you're going to be sticking with your squats. That makes sense. Dude, that new Seraphon kit looks so good. Oh, you could smash them up with Space Marines and do a really cool salamanders. That would be really cool, actually. Not a bad idea at all. Alright, let me... Wow, I got so much paint on this side. Way more than I did the other side. Ooh. Alright. I'm a bit wibbly-handed. There we go. Do you guys ever do this trick where you are using? Let me get more on screen. So you use your like palm or some other portion of your wrist or arm to brace the model or your own hands against each other to stabilize when you're painting. I actually have very unsteady hands normally. Like I have a little bit of a natural shake. And so like it really helps stabilize if I'm able to brace my hands against something as opposed to just free-handing it like this, what I'm doing now, which is making me really like all over the place. I know you weren't hearing those noises, but that's what I hear whenever I like wibble my hand. Alright, so that is looking fine. It should get covered. Now, I'm not worrying too much if all of the gray is like super tidy and cleaned up. Although, how did I still miss? I just found more of this dang thing that I did not paint correctly. That's Black Templar. Angela, pay attention to the bottles you're picking up. Here's, whoa, I had so much water on that brush. Note to self, don't be holding brush that you just dipped in paint water in hand when shaking paint, because then you might shake that water into your face and almost into your mouth. Yeah, no, I also do not have super steady hands, and so like it's one of the reasons that normally I'm using a painting handle, because what ends up happening is I can basically I'll be holding the painting handle, whatever I'm painting is here, and then my hand ends up being, I can rest my painting hand, the one that's holding the brush, on the hand that's holding the handle, and still getting at whatever I'm painting. I find it like, oh yeah, no. I know it's caffeine intake that helps add to that. Absolutely. But this is just something that I've had like forever, like as long as I can remember. So like this really helps. It helps just stabilize everything so much better, and it allows me to pull much straighter lines, much cleaner paint, and everything. So really good. Absolutely think it's very helpful. Okay, there was something, there it is. This is what I did not paint still, apparently. This right here. Hold on. Alright, everything seems to be fine. Sorry, I just got a little notification and I wanted to make sure it didn't mess with my stream, because the last time my computer had a notification, it kicked me out of Resident Evil 4 and it caused my stream to break. So I just wanted to make sure we weren't having a repeat. Now before this dries in a really horrifically splotchy way, let's spread some of this paint around. What is this music from? Ah, Homeworld. I was like, I recognize these spaceship noises and choir music. That's why I recognize it, because it's Homeworld. Hell yeah. Are you guys excited for Homeworld 3? Is it 3 that's coming out soon? It's Homeworld 3 that's coming out soon, right? Okay. Yes, it is Homeworld 3. I was not completely wrong on that. Are you guys excited for that? Because I am. I think it looks pretty good. I'm hoping it doesn't suck. So you're doing this, like, I'm painting like this so that you're bracing yourself. I can see that. I find that if I'm just able to brace my hands, because the miniatures are small enough, the wrist motion doesn't really bother me, but I could also see wanting more mobility. So keeping your hands tighter in and tucked would definitely be that way. They also allowed you to keep, like, the model closer to you, so if you, like, depending on if you've got, like, bad vision, in that allows you to not see things farther away and stuff like that, maybe having it up closer helps. I know sometimes I have to do that, because, like, my glasses will just, like, I don't know, get too smudgy, and then I'm like, what am I looking at? I need to paint this. Okay, I think we're done with the gray, officially. I think I am done with my cleanup, officially. I'll find out here in a moment. But actually, before we continue, I am going to take a very... I don't... Red, green... What scammers are you talking about? Yes, scammers are out there, and the Match of Mackinons is a good 40k song? Oh, well, I agree with you with the song. I don't understand the first part of your comment. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to take a very brief break. I'm going to stretch my legs a little bit, and when I come back, we're going to work on everything that needs to be green, which is like basically everything else on this model. It is pretty much all going to be Astra Militarum green at this point. The screen of this screen, I'll probably do in a different color. I might do that in gray. You know what, real quick, before I take my break, I'm going to do... Yeah, I'm going to do it in gray because I did the other one in gray, and I think just for cohesion's sake and a little bit more variety on the model. Like, I know these are basic troops, but I do want a little bit of, like, fun with them. I don't want to be completely dull and boring. So I think doing this in some light gray will be good. Just to make it stand out a smidge. A smidge, you say. And then after that, I'm taking a small break. Look at that. Pretty darn clean, actually. Did I get this side fully? Oh god. Oh god, the nerves. I'm getting nervous about cleanliness, and so I'm shaking more. No! See, sometimes my handshake is not so much from, like, the caffeine and stuff. When I get nervous about doing a certain thing, I just, like, vibrate. And so sometimes I get really nervous when I'm painting, and I'll just, like, if you've ever seen, like, severe jitters in any of my painting tutorials where I've, like, just wildly sort of, like, vibrated, that's why. It's because I was nervous to paint whatever the fuck it was that I was painting at that point. Which might be sometimes very silly because it's, like, something really dumb and doesn't require nervousness, but I don't know. I want it to look good for you guys, and so I get nervous about how the content looks, and I just want it to be good. Okay, I'm going to take a brief break. I'll be back in at 2:06. I'm going to give myself a little bit of a 5-minute break. I will be right back, y'all. Hello, I am back. I have returned. I have stretched my legs. I'm feeling better. Let's go ahead and paint some green. One of my favorite colors. Look, I even kind of have an army green shirt. It looks a little more blue to me on the camera than it actually is in real life. It's definitely more of a military green color. But yes. On the quiet, I really think you should go with whichever one you think looks cooler. If you like the more dark gray color of the iron, then go with iron. If you like a brighter, more vibrant silver, then go with a brighter, more vibrant silver. The nice thing is because they're your army, and you can make them whatever that you want. Like, that's the beautiful thing about it. So whichever color you really like the more, always go with the rule of cool, guys. My absolute advice to anybody who ever wants to jump into painting or get into playing a war game is pick the army that you think looks the coolest, that excites you the most, and then pick a color scheme that you're going to want to put on that exciting army. And that isn't going to absolutely make you lose your mind about it. Because if you do pick something that you don't like, or that you don't like enjoy painting with, then you're going to end up disliking the process, and then you're not going to want to use the army going forward. At least that's my experience with it and what I've seen from other people. So my advice is always just go with the rule of cool. Whatever you like, pick, and then just go with it. Because that's probably going to be your best bet. I think personally...
Boo! Because I keep scaring you.
Boo! Oh my god. That Grievous looks amazing. Also, I love his little commander droid. Look at how cool... Yeah, put it here. Here. Look at this Shatterpoint image. Look at the freaking army. Look how cool that is. I can't wait for this game. So, I don't know if they were leaks or if they were official...
That's Adepticon. It was an Adepticon panel.
Okay, so apparently at Adepticon, Atomic Mass Games had a panel focusing on Shatterpoint, which is not unexpected, and I'm actually surprised they didn't do a live stream about it. I freaking wish they had. Maybe they did and I just didn't hear about it or know about it, in which case they need to do better about their advertising, because I want to know more about the minis in this game. But I was looking at screenshots from the presentation that they had at Adepticon, and there are so many cool expansion packs coming. Oh my god, it's like all of the characters that I love from the Clone Wars, and they're doing this intentionally. So my theory, by the way, for why we're getting all of these characters in in Shatterpoint and not Legion is probably has to do with the licensing agreement. My bet is that when Legion was originally like conceived and put into an agreement, Clone Wars and the characters from the cartoon probably weren't included. I bet they had the licenses for like the original movies, for the Clone War movies, and probably being able to do maybe some of those things, but I don't know if they had the rights for everything that was happening in either the Clone Wars cartoon or possibly even Rebels. Now we have seen a little bit more from Rebels coming out. Like we have a Agent Callus and we do have a Sabine Wren, but we don't have everybody. So it's really, really bizarre and I don't quite understand, but that's my assumption, is it has to do something with licensing, because they suddenly have seemingly access to everybody, and there's like a Plo Koon that I've seen coming out. You have the two, I forget their names, but there's like a pair of Master and Padawan that ends up doing a bunch with Ahsoka and Anakin, specifically the Padawan does, and they end up being dark side, not Sith, but dark side, and they're available. It's so cool. Okay, let's actually get started on this, and we will get to painting. I think what I'm going to do first, just to be done with it, is get a light coating on the underside, just to have it there. I don't need it to be super clean. I don't need it to be super even. I just want a coating of green to give ourselves the illusion that it was in fact painted, and I didn't just prime it and leave it. Alright, that is looking good so far. Let's get it all done up in green. I'm also really looking forward to Shatterpoint. Like, I think it's going to be fun. Or at least I think the miniatures are going to be cool. Alright, let's flip it around. And we'll do the sides. I do, however, need more paint, and for ease, I'm going to put my pot over there. Let's not grab it by that, Angela. That's literally what you're painting, you fool. Alright. Let's go. For this model, no, this is not for a Star Wars game, but Shatterpoint is, yes. Shatterpoint is a new Star Wars skirmish game, or I guess war game. I'm not really sure how they're identifying it, if it's skirmish or full-on war game, or how they're describing it, but it is a new miniatures tabletop game from Atomic Mass Games, who have taken over all of like Star Wars Legion and X-Wing and all of those things from Fantasy Flight Games. And I personally think they've been doing a pretty decent job. I know there are some people who have mixed opinions about Atomic Mass, but I think that's just kind of the nature of the industry. But I think they've been doing a pretty good job. But they have this new game coming out called Shatterpoint. It's going to be out in August. I actually think it's releasing August 11th on my birthday. So you'll know what I'll be getting. And it looks amazing. It's focusing specifically on a lot of the Clone War era characters, and it seems like they have picked up the license from the cartoon. Because I feel like they have a lot of characters from the Clone Wars cartoon. I'm going to be kind of meticulous about this to make sure that I don't have too much splotchiness. So I'm going to be very specific to not move on to new areas until I have another area complete. If I can. Let's be a little delicate around here. Don't want to green up the handle too much. There we go. Oh, God. Dropped it. Immediately. There we go. Now let's get the underside. The casing around it, and I'll clean up the lens here, so I'm just gonna go wild. Go wild in there. Make sure we get green everywhere. Alright, that is looking pretty good. There's a little section that I missed. And that entire side. Alright, well, that's why we check, folks. That's why we check. Okay, I'm feeling good about that. Let me go ahead and get the little foot thingy-madoodle. Whew, that was way too much. Hold on, I spilled... I didn't knock a pot over, I just dripped some paint down the side of the pot. Whoop, I'm also throwing my brushes on the floor. Everything's fine. This is just how painting goes. See, I actually don't mind splotches. I actually think that gives it a little bit more of a natural, like, because I'm going for this to look like painted metal, rather than, like, be a super clean, like, hard coat of paint. I almost want it to look like it's just, like, glazed over top. And so I don't mind it so much. Also, I'm going to weather the fuck out of this thing, so I'm not even going to stress it. Like, if I have a little bit of, like, awkwardness or something, I'm not going to mind. Now, I don't want too much pooling, specifically. Like, that will be bad. But I don't mind some. But, like, for example, in this little foot, there's those gaps that are, you know, just a nice well for the paint to collect into, and I don't want it to be quite that heavy. So let's just dab some of that extra paint out. And you know what? We'll spread it over to the other one. That'll work just fine for me. Robert, I'm doing excellent. I hope that you are also doing well. I'm feeling a lot better than I did yesterday. Yesterday, my poor dear sweet kitty was not feeling super great, and he had me very, very worried. But thankfully, he is doing a lot better today, and it's relieved a lot of the stress that I was having. And now I am able to enjoy spending some time painting some miniatures with you guys. Which is great, because I was really worried that I was gonna... Like, I wasn't sure what was gonna happen to content this week because of him. If he didn't see improvement. But I think we're going to be able to stick to our normal, wonderful schedule. It's coming along quite nicely. That at the top. Oh, I love Astra Militarum green. It is just such a nice olive color. Actually, this is the color I use for my Death Guard all the time. Because I just think it looks like just a really good green armor for them. And now I'm using it on my Imperial Guard, which is probably more what Games Workshop intended it for, but you know, who knows. I think they have better greens for Orc Flesh than their Orc Flesh, so just saying. Or Orc Skin, or whatever they call it. I don't actually know if it's called Orc Flesh. Orc Flesh might be the speed paint. Apparently I missed that underside. Let me just fix that right now. Let's get sloppy there. Okay, that is looking pretty good. We can go ahead and paint that. Good, 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 good. Okay. What I want to focus on next is specifically where his hands are. So I'm going to switch to a much smaller brush for better control. I do find that I can have pretty decent control with a larger brush, but I don't want it to be quite as big as that one. I love Mantis Warrior Green, USC Deadman. Are you a Universal Collector Series? No, that's UCS. Never mind. I was reading your Universal Collector Series Deadman. USC Deadman, I completely agree with you. Mantis Warrior Green is the absolute best Orc Flesh out there. Like, in my opinion, that is my go-to. Like, I love that color for Orc Flesh. My old recipe used to be, Plaguebearer's Flesh, actually. So Plaguebearer's Flesh contrast paint, and then you'd put that down in a single coating. And then over top that, you would thin down some Bielton Green, and you'd get a very similar look to what Mantis Warrior Green gets you. But Mantis Warrior Green speeds up the freaking process for you immensely. So it just is better, and I use it now all the time. Okay, let's start from the bottom and work our way up with this green section in the middle. We're going to be a little delicate, like I said, because I don't want to get any green paint on the hands if I can help it. Because I don't want to have to repaint them. But I will if I have to. I'm actually going to leave the wheel unpainted. I'm going to do that in gray. And just have the handle that it's attached to being green. I think that'll add a little bit more variety. It's one of the nice things about doing, filming part of the tutorial as the live stream with you guys, is I don't have to, I could like make some of these split-second decisions and not have to worry about going back and recapturing something or whatever, because I'm just like, you know what, we're winging it and we're talking about it now. is looking pretty decent. Let's get the other side. Again, being delicate to not hit the hands. Okay, and then how do I flip this so I can get to that section a bit more easily? Apparently like so. Okay. There's a little bit here that I've missed. And I actually did pretty well on the other side. There's a massive amount of pooling there. Let's fix that problem. Let's just fix that problem. Spread that paint around a little bit. There we go. Okay, I am liking that. Oh, but we missed some stuff. All right, there. Okay, that's good, that's good. Okay, that's also looking good. I'm not going to worry about anything else on the bottom because it's the freaking bottom and it doesn't matter. Yeah, that is actually looking pretty decent to me. Oh, except... There we go. Alright, so I'm going to let this dry because I have found, and I don't know if you guys have experienced this in the past, but at least when I'm painting and I'm working with contrast paints, sometimes what happens is I will be like, I'm still using the same color, so I'm just going to keep moving forward, and then I'll end up touching whatever it was that I was working on and splotching, but not realizing that I splotched because it's not wet enough for me to notice that I've, like, touched it with my hand or my arm or whatever, and it just ends up being terrible. So I'm going to just leave it for a second, and we'll come back to it. Oh, Mercurion, I'm so sorry to hear that. Do you have the problem where you just unfocus a lot when you're painting? Like, do you, you're staring at something and your eyes just not be able to focus on it anymore? Because I know one of my friends back at the game store that I used to work at had the exact same problem. And unfortunately, like, there wasn't really good solutions. But the best thing that I told him to do is just, he has to take more breaks in between and look away from the thing that he's looking up at close because his eyes are just getting strained from that. So I don't know if that's the same problem, but I hope not. I'm so sad that you can't you don't feel like you can paint miniatures because of your eyesight. That sucks, man. Oh yeah, markers work especially well on miniatures for sure, especially doing the eyes. I completely agree with you guys. Like if you're needing to dot somebody's eyes, although I am of the opinion that just on a miniature, unless it's like a larger miniature where the eye would actually be, like, the whites and pupil of the eye would actually be noticeable, dude, don't bother. Just shade it, make it look like it's a heavy brow and it's cast in shadow, and be done with it. That's at least what I do. That's what I did on every single one of my guardsmen. I'm not even gonna bother attempting to dot their tiny little eyes because it's not worth it. Like, no one's gonna see them, no one's gonna be looking at them, and it looks perfectly passable with the shadow in there, and it works fine. Nice, red green. I am not a fan of mixing paints personally, mostly because I find that I can never keep my ratios straight, and so I just don't tend to do it. But I know plenty of people that do, and you can get like a humongous range of colors with just like a couple of tubes of paint. So more power to you, man. I completely understand that. Do you have a when you're mixing your paints, like, do you have a specific brand that you like to work with, or any particular colors that you like to mix the most? Like, for example, like, do you have a favorite yellow to mix into things to make, like, greens or oranges or something like that? Because I know there's, like, a huge variety of, like, tones and shades of yellow that you could be picking up. I'm curious what you use. Absolutely they are. Any shortcut trick or anything like that that you can like utilize part of your painting process, absolutely do, because it'll speed up your process. It'll make you probably want to paint more because you get them done faster. At least it does for me. It definitely does for me. I apparently finished my soda and did not grab myself a water. Well, I'll get some in a bit. What I am going to try to do, actually, while we wait for this to dry, is I'm going to bust out my... I'm going to make it black, actually. I'm going to bust out the Black Templar. And I'm going to make this wheel... No, the other ones are all gray. I should keep it consistent. Angela, keep it consistent. Keep it consistent. Yeah, I don't paint eyes for that reason. Like, unless it is an eyeball that was actually going to be visible at a distance, like on a larger model where it's easier, I just don't freaking bother. Alright, this is going well. Being careful not to get any paint on the hands. I guess I could have waited to paint them, but I just was doing all of the hands at once. I was doing all the flesh at once. And I just was like, I'm gonna do it now. I'm gonna do it now. Even though I've painted nothing else on this. Here's the challenge. Oh my god, I did it. I'm a magician. I'm a magician with the brush, guys. That's not at all true. I just got kind of lucky. Although I am still not getting fully... Does it matter? Is it going to be super visible? Should I care? Yes. I think it might be kind of visible, so we'll be careful. Continue to paint these delicately. Alright, that one actually was way easier to paint than the other one. It must be where the hand is positioned on the other side. Okay. Although I did see a big section of green I missed, so we'll fix that in a second. God, that happens to me so many times. I'll be painting something and just completely miss a little section and then notice it while painting something else. Thankfully, I have a little bit of green still on my palette. I put way too much water into that. It is soupy. Alright, let's fix this. There we go. Touched it up. Everything is fixed now. I really recommend it. Like, contrast paint, when it first came out, got such a massively bad reputation because of the absolute asinine way that Games Workshop marketed it. They're like, one thick coat, guys, and then, like, you're done. And it's like, okay, except that that's not how painting works in any capacity, regardless of what type of paint you're using. It just doesn't. Now, you can still grit a really amazing single coat of paint out of this. That's what I've been doing here with everything. I've been basically doing a single coat with the exception of on this section right here. Everything else has been a single coat of whatever color I used, right? The difference is you need to pay attention to how much paint you have in your brush and how much water you have in your brush and how they are working together. And I think that's the biggest thing that Games Workshop failed on when they announced this product originally. And I think it's something that, like, creators and other painters have gone on to explain to the community as a whole of like, hey, actually, this medium is actually not the worst to work with, and it can speed up your painting process immensely. And that's one of the things that I just really like about it. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, you don't have to do anything super complicated on faces. They're so tiny, you're not really going to notice them. So if you want to add like a little color to the lips to like make them stand out a bit more, maybe dot the eyes black or just fill in the whole eye black to give it sort of that shadowed look, absolutely by no means should you not do that. Ooh. Zaranat, which of the AOS armies are you running specifically? I would love to know. You said you started with the TTWG, and I don't know if I'm familiar with which box set that may or may not have been. So do let me know. I'm very curious. All right. Are we looking dry enough? I think so. I might do a second coat on this side. I feel like it got a little thinner than I maybe wanted it to. So let me just water this down. I'm going to run a very quick thin second coat over top this. Yeah, that is a little bit better. I think I blew some of my paint away. Because, like, I like to blow the bubbles out of the holes in the model sometimes. Because it just, I don't know, I like watching them pop. But sometimes I think when I do that, I push too much paint away. Because I blow too hard. I also missed that entire section right there, so let me just fix that. Yeah, we're looking pretty good. I'm gonna buff up the green a little bit there. Again, it got a little thin. And I'm actually going to do it on this side too. That's the other thing that I like about contrast paint, is if you go thin with it, you can actually layer it and build it up, and then the splotchiness that sometimes people do complain about kind of disappears because you're adding layers and it's kind of flowing in to fill in those spots where the blotchiness may have occurred. So I don't know. I just find it a very versatile, usable tool. Or medium, I guess, to work with. All right, let's shake this up. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I had it closed all the way. That could have been a disaster. That is a fair point, Jonah. You definitely want to make sure that you're priming in optimal temperatures so that you don't end up having weird things happen. That's something I constantly worry about. Thankfully, where I live, we have pretty consistent temperatures, which are generally good for priming. I need a little bit of a sip of water, so I will be back in just like 2 seconds. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. I have acquired some water. I've put it right in front of my microphone. Hopefully it wasn't absolutely blocking it. Alright, now let's continue. We're going to hold it from the wheels. And we're going to work now on the middle section. Actually, screw it. I'm going to do the front. Yeah, we're going to start here. Let's go ahead and get it covered in some paint. Make sure that I'm properly on camera so that people can see what I am doing. Because I find that even if you aren't necessarily talking about specifically what you're doing, if you're just kind of watching how somebody moves their brush and how they're controlling their paint, what they're doing, it'll fill you in on how you can apply that to your own models. And you can use it to your own advantage. Alright, let's go for this section first. Because I want to do the front panel, like, literally all in one go. It's the thing I'm most nervous to do, because it's the biggest and the flattest. I think it's going to look really cool. I think it's going to look real red. Okay, so we're getting this. It's coming along nicely. Let's get the underside of it. The back side, even though it'll be way less visible, but, you know, cover it a little bit. The remaining underside of this, just to fill it in, while we let that other stuff dry before we move on to the big scary part that I'm most nervous to paint. Okay. That's definitely going to need a second coat. Got a little too thin. But here we go. We're going to put some paint on the palette. We're going to get a little bit of water into our brush. Reapply a bit more paint off of our palette. And go. I don't know why it's doing that spreading thing. But we're gonna just keep moving the paint around until it stops. Weird. I don't know why it's doing that. I don't know if I have something in my paint, in my brush, in my water maybe. That is looking pretty good though. I'm pretty happy. We'll do cleanup on that so that I can just make sure to get green everywhere. I'm not going to stress it. Alright, and that is looking pretty good. Let's get the sides.
Potentially add some contrast medium. I find that sometimes happens when your amount of pigment becomes off balance from the actual medium it's suspended in.
Oh, that's a great
Certain
call.
paints are worse about it than others in the contrast line. The green is probably up there.
I was gonna say, yeah, I do find this green has that, and I didn't think of that as the potential like cause of it, but you're absolutely right. That
yes,
could be
you should have some contrast medium around.
I should. I think it's filled in fine, so I'm not gonna worry too much about it, but I am gonna, if I continue to have the problem.
Yep.
That was a great call. Thank you for that. I'm just doing some finessing on where some of my pooling is happening so that I can control any splotchiness that may occur on this bigger, flatter surface. Alright, I'm actually very happy with that. So I am going to let it dry. There's a couple sides I still need to do, and then obviously the back. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. I really just want these things to dry. Okay. What do you guys think? Like, it's going to look a little splotchy, but we're going to be able to clean it up. So I'm not going to worry too much. Don't you guys stress. Also, it's going to spread out a little bit as it continues to dry. Although, hold on, I got some awkwardness happening. Where, you know what? Where is my contrast medium? Here we go. Oop, don't stick the brush you've been using directly into your contrast medium. Angela, get a separate brush that is clean. Get some on your palette. Ooh, oh my god, almost spill your very full bottle. Grab your other brush, get some more paint on it, and mix it right in there. Yeah, honestly, that does look more fluid. I wonder if this is an older bottle. I wonder if it's separated too much. Yeah, look at that. That's better. Okay, we're gonna clean it up a little bit. The nice thing is while it's still wet, you can really manipulate it still. Alright, that is looking pretty good. Okay, I'm happier with that. I'm going to see if I can pull a little bit of the green out of this, out of the Aquila. Do you want some in the eyes? There we go. So it's not as green. Yeah, we're just, I've decided I'm just making sure to go thin. because I can fill it back in. I'm just gonna layer. So I'm just gonna pull off any extra paint that I've got. And we're gonna take this slow. Okay, I'm gonna leave that one because it's already started drying, and I don't want to fuck with it too much. But I like this. This is working well. Okay, don't touch it. Don't. Just don't. I want to touch it so badly. I want to keep fucking with it, but I need to stop. How do I get an advice ghost? My advice ghost is my editor. And my partner. He is the Chaos Cultist. For those of you that may be unfamiliar, that is just how I refer to him. He is one of my cultists. My first cultist. And he absolutely has really good advice sometimes, actually. And I did not even think about that with the green. But he's absolutely correct. Oh my god, I have so much pooling in the bottom here. Hold on. Calm down, paint. Calm down.
For I am a master of fine art!
That's true, he does have a master of fine arts, and I have only a measly bachelor's.
Haha, you live in a basement with a small cooler full of beer.
Yes. Yes. That is absolutely true. That is what my degree means. I'm just perpetually in a basement with a cooler of small beer. A small cooler of beer. I said that wrong. Actually, that's one of the reasons I like contrast. So contrast paint, because of the way that the medium behaves and the way that the pigments float in it, it really does behave very much like a stain. It's a more saturated shade, if you want to think of contrast paint that way. And that's one of the reasons I like it so much. Because I feel like it's very manipulatable, even though, like, there are some things about it that are not controllable. Like, you will inevitably get some splotchiness in certain cases, depending on how you lay the paint down. Also, especially if... Sorry, I was, like, burping there as I was speaking. I'm so sorry. I'm disgusting. What was I saying? I was talking about contrast paint and how it sometimes is a little bit splotchy. But you generally, like, can manipulate it pretty well. And because you can work with it very thin... like even more thin than standard acrylic paints, I find that you don't end up losing detail even if you end up layering or redoing things because you don't necessarily like the way your color is, or if you don't like the way the paint ended up drying or something. You can end up layering on top of it or even redoing it without adding so much excess paint on your model that you're completely losing the details, which I feel like sometimes you used to have happen, like back in the day, especially with the more traditional styles of painting with, like, traditional acrylics. Yes, he is. I completely agree, John. He is absolutely the best. Chaos Cultist is the best. As long as the cooler is filled with beer size of beer and not... That doesn't matter. You know what? That's fair. As a non-beer drinker, I'm not sure I'd enjoy this cooler. I'm not sure I'd enjoy the cooler. But, I'm stuck with it, apparently, as a bachelor. Well, no, the reason that we have so many subs on YouTube, though, is because of the way he edits my footage together. Because if he didn't edit it together well, it would look like garbage, and you guys wouldn't like it or watch it. So I don't know. I feel like his masters is a little bit more important than that. Sign you up for the basement and the beer? Excellent. Alright. Is this dried? Hey, look at that. It's actually drying very well. So, I want it to be fully dried. Like, that's the one thing when I'm painting sometimes, is I get these in-between steps where I really must let the paint dry when it comes to contrast paint. You just, if you fuck with it too early, it will suck whatever paint hasn't finished drying back into your brushes, and you'll get this really awful, like, just no paints there. And it's terrible. No. This isn't edited. But when I do my painting tutorials, those are edited, and that is what he's using that for. But no, these are not edited. I mean, I guess technically afterwards they are. He does sometimes, like, go and clean them up and, like, cut areas out if they're not necessary, or mostly just, like, the beginnings and ends. You know, when I ramble, like, way too much and or am awkwardly silent because I've started my stream and forgot that I have actually started it and I'm showing the camera already and then I just sit there. That's happened sometimes too. I have thought about getting a hairdryer, actually, for helping speed up the painting process to help them dry faster. The one concern that I have there is contrast paint can be pushed by air pretty easily. And so, depending on what kind of blow dryer it is, or fan, I'm worried that the motion of the, like, air moving past it will actually paint across the model. And so, then I might get worse pooling in weird ways, so I'm not really sure. The heat is really what I'm looking for. Like, I feel like I need just something that will produce, like, maybe not a heat gun, because I don't want to melt. I don't know. I don't know how. I know people do use blow dryers when it comes to drying their paints, like their paint projects faster. I don't know how well it works with contrast paint because of the way that it moves, though. Okay, this is not dried, but this is. So I'm going to do the back first. And then we will come back to the front and do, I think, a second layer. Can you guys... Yeah, you guys can see that. Yeah, honestly, now that I've added the contrast medium in, it's working so much better. I think this paint pot might be a little bit older. It's low, and I haven't used this color in a while, so I think it might be a little older, and oh my gosh, I'm sticking to my brushes. Just completely block that with my hand. And it might have more pigment to medium in it at this point. Because yeah, holy shit, that worked so much better.
Snap your W-2 and file Fed and State for free. Simple.
No, TurboTax! My video will play after this. I'm sorry, I'm using YouTube for us to listen to music. And it decided to throw an ad in there because I don't have YouTube Red. I really should. I should get it. It's actually quite valuable. I have it on my other account, just not this one. Alright, but we're back to our music. That's good. File your taxes, folks. File your taxes. Since we just got a TurboTax ad. Alright, let's do the other side. Look at that glorious green color. Love it. To the inside there, like that. Oh shit. Okay, well, see, and this is why we check. Now we're gonna thin it a little bit more with water. We're not gonna add new paint, and we're gonna go over. Yes. Exactly what I wanted to happen. Now look at that beautiful, rich army green color. Oh, I love it. Mmm. Top there, the inside there. Yes, yes, yes. Alright, and then don't forget to get up here. Alright, I like that. I like how that is looking. It's a very handsome green. It's very shiny because it's wet. I'm going to hold it like this because I just want the paint to roughly stay where it is. I like this angle, so... Just gonna let it dry a little bit. Oh, well, nice. I am glad to hear that for you, Lazy Mini Painting. I actually just submitted mine, so hopefully I don't have to do anything else. I'm still waiting to hear back from my, my tax person. It's always it's my first year filing as like a fully non-W2 employee. It's very strange. I love the way that's looking. I think it's dried enough that I don't think it's gonna move too much. And the weathering, I think, that we're gonna do on top of that is gonna look sexy. We don't have that much to do. It's just mainly this center section, which is good because we're almost out of time for our stream. While we're waiting, I am gonna beef up one other section here on the front because it got a little pale as well. And I want to look kind of sickly next to everything else. Like, that's kind of how it's appearing to me now. And I don't like that, so let me just fix this. Alright. There, that is feeling a lot better. So, let's come to the back and we'll start working on this. I do want to get a smidge more of my medium on my palette. So for the base, what I decided to do is I wanted it to kind of match what I had done for Colonel Colum, I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly, from the Gaunt's Ghosts that I had painted up. He's actually the only one that I've painted up because it's been so long that I forgot how I did his camo, and I'm a little nervous to try it again. But I really liked what I did on his base. I ended up using Sterling Mud on his base, though. And I find that on larger bases, like what the Ordinance is on, Sterling Mud, it's wasteful. It's a really wasteful to use that particular texture paint, in my opinion, on that size of a base because of the way that it behaves. And on the Colonel's base, what I had actually done on his is I had used the Sterling Mud so sparingly, so thinly, that it actually just kind of looked like hardened dirt. So what I did is I went with my tried and true classic of Armageddon Dust. But what I decided to do instead was put not Agros Dune, sorry, hold on, words are coming to me. Agras Earthshade. The really dark brown shade from GW. And laid that on really heavily, and then did a dry brush of Talaran sand over top of that, and I got a really nice, like, sort of compact dirt look, and I think it matches what I did on him, on Colum, that is, my other miniature, and so that's what I did to answer that question. I'll go in more details, and you'll be able to see it, of course, on Friday, when the painting tutorial about this Ordinance comes out. You guys are getting a little bit of behind-the-scenes action today as I work on a part that, honestly, I'm using a bunch of the exact same colors I've already used on my boys. So I figured, why not stream that part? Be able to plug that and let you guys see the process a little bit more, like, up close and personal. Hopefully you guys like that. Yes, I need to try the Vallejo ground textures. When I was in Berkeley, I found it really hard to come across Vallejo's products for some reason. I don't know why, getting access to them seemed very difficult. But I believe that the game castle that's near me now has some. Like, they seem to have Vallejo more in stock. So it's something I've been tempted to grab. I also want to try out, because they have a bunch of this as well, AK's texture paints and such, and their ground materials. I think that would be interesting to try out. There's that. There's a little bit of stuff missed there. Let's get in there. Oh, that entire side. Let's get this side. Get that side. Oh, don't touch that. Don't touch that. That's still drying. Alright, and then we'll come over here and we'll do this one. I'm so glad that I've been on camera. I was really worried that I had, like, wildly shifted off screen again. I know I want to do that sometimes, because I'll flail wildly while I'm painting and just like, I'm gonna manipulate the model this direction, and by the way, that's gonna totally move my entire thing off camera. Sorry. Alright, this is looking so good. And then afterwards, I'm gonna take a small break and, off stream, because I need to record it like normal. I'm gonna start with the leathering process. I'm very hyped for that. Ooh, that's a little bit splotchy. Alright, now let's get this upper section. It's looking good, looking good. Got a little bit of green paint on the gray there. We'll fix that in a second. Clean brush, we'll just wash it off. There we go. Oh, I just picked up some more green. That's the one problem. Sometimes when I'm going fast. Alright, that's better. You know, I'm going to switch to a slightly smaller brush for a moment while I go into these tighter areas. Just for a bit more control. There we go, that's looking good. That is looking fine. Let's go in between very delicately. And then paint on this side. Hello, Hari Kenjin. I believe hopefully I pronounced your names right. I'm gonna call you Hari. Hello, Hari. Hari K? Hari. I'm just gonna call you Hari to make it easier on myself. And Joanne? Awesome, thank you. This is God of War, actually. This is the finale for God of War 2. That might be why you're recognizing it, but maybe not placing it.
Yes, most of this is all from a video game soundtrack.
Yes, because we've had some Homeworld, which is great.
We also switched over to a new playlist.
Is that what happened? Yes. Got it.
Yeah, I think we switched off of pure 40k to now we're just into epic video games.
Oh, well, freaking great. I am almost finished.
Yes, I was going to say, because I kind of wanted to make sure, because I know it's approaching 3, but I wanted to make sure you were going to get it done. Do you want me to get you a Mountain Dew or anything?
No, I'm okay. I've already had one earlier today, and I feel like I should not have a second one yet.
Alright, that's fine.
But I appreciate that. No, I am definitely going to get this done. I'm literally almost finished. We're just wrapping up.
Feel free to hang out with the folks, 85 people who are here.
Oh my god, there's 85 of you watching me right now? Yeah. Oh my god! Hello! All of you! That's so many people! What? I wish that, like, somehow my OBS, like, load up would tell me how many people were here. Holy shit! Oh my god! That's so cool. Hello, all of you. I hope this has been entertaining. I hope you've, like, enjoyed it and learned something, and, it's been entertaining for you, really, is the main thing. Oh my god, I am blown away. That is crazy. You guys are amazing. Oh, well, dang, holy shit. So good. That's epic. I feel so cool. Thank you guys. I'm doing it. I'm a real streamer. Yay. Honestly, that just makes me so happy because this is a painting thing. Like, I don't know how often that is a normal thing people like to watch, you know? Like, I would think that it was. I've watched people stream while painting, but, like, I don't know. That is just, I'm blown away. I need a clean brush. I've used all my brushes accidentally. Hold on, let me just... I need a bit more medium. There we go. Clean that brush, set it over there, and get some more paint. Alright, there we go. That's looking good. Alright, we have this side to do. Ooh, some blue custodes? That sounds awesome! Well, thank you. I'm so glad it makes for good background noise. Like, that's kind of what I was hoping it would do well with. So that is awesome to hear. Glad you're enjoying it. I still can't believe there's 85 people watching this. That blows my mind. Alright, there's that bit of green. Over that. So that's why I cleaned it up. Excellent. I apparently missed this side over here, so let's fix that. I swear I painted that, but apparently I didn't, so let's just correct that mistake there. There's... Wow, this is looking honestly really cool, and I'm very excited. Shh, ads.
Go to Wix.com.
No.
Set up your
No, I will not. I just want to listen to music. Put the music. Oh, it's pronounced like hurricane. Okay. Okay, cool. Excellent. Thank you for clarifying that, because I know that you often speak in chat, and I'm pretty sure I fucked up your name every single time. I am so sorry to anybody that I do that to, by the way. I am terrible about pronunciations. If you guys watch my news, you should know this. I try my hardest. It takes so much effort for me to remember names properly. Okay, that is got some green pulled up on it in a way that I do not like. Thankfully, it is still super wet, so it's actually coming off of the model very nicely. And leaving my gray still there, although I am smearing it further and further up, which is a little bit of a problem. There we go. And I see there's a little bit of green in here that I missed. Okay, that's fine. That is good. Oh god, I missed that completely. Let's get inside that little hole there so that it doesn't look unpainted. Okay, yeah, that is looking good. I'm gonna let a lot of this dry. I think there's a smidge that I'm seeing from below. Let me see if I can get in there with this small brush. I see, it's the wheel that like rotates. Let's see. Well, there's a bunch of holes. So I'm gonna stick the brush in between those and see if I can get in there. Yes, this is working. I just need to keep rotating the thing and finding all of the angles in which I missed paint. Okay, I think that looks better. I'm gonna let it dry. There's literally two things I need left to do, and that is the Quilla, which is going to be done in gray, because I want these all, like, all of the guard I didn't do any gold on them. Because I don't have any, like, the commanders or anything. I just have, like, I have, like, a sergeant or whatever, who's, like, you know, going, like, shoot there, men! But I don't have, like, a named character or anybody who's a much higher rank, so I wanted to leave gold for that, for my guardsmen, because I feel like that makes more sense. I feel like only the highest ranking officers should have the gold in the Astra Militarum. At least that's my feeling on it. Ooh, that sounds lovely. Cantor blue is a nice, like, darker blue from what I remember. Because that's actually what I used when I was very first starting in Warhammer in 5th edition, my first army was Crimson Fists, and I used Cantor Blue as the base coat for my Crimson Fists, which worked out really, really well for the ones that I actually painted. That project did not last super long. I do think that there are, like, it blows my mind when I meet people who paint things on sprue. Like, I get painting things, like, clipping them all out, having them off the sprue, and then maybe assembling afterwards, because, like, I can see that. You can make that work. I've painted things in parts like that before, but I've seen some people who paint stuff on sprue, and my question is always, but don't you have to clip it off? So you're just gonna have to go back in and repaint where you clipped it off, right? Because it's not always a connection point where you're clipping. So that's where I get confused for people who do that, kind of like that style of painting. Nice. Well, awesome. This is a great time to get back into Warhammer 40k, especially with 10th edition coming. It sounds like it's going to be a lot easier to jump into, which I'm excited for. You know, that makes sense, Nell. There's tons and tons of historical color schemes you could be using for Guardsmen and make it completely work without a problem. I am really happy with how this is coming out. Like, I think once we get some weathering powder on there, it's going to look absolutely stunning. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bust back out the Basilicanum Gray. I also want to briefly... Where's my Wraithbone? So we just need to very quickly need to tidy this up. We want to be kind of delicate about it so that we don't lose too much of our detail. Just want to tint back that green a little bit. Okay, so we've done that. I'm gonna clean up this lens. That lens. Okay, so that looks good. We're going to also clean up this TV a little bit. What music? What is this one from? This is called Joe Blankenberg Voyager. I don't know what game this is from, but I like it. It's very, like, upbeat and, like, heroic. I'm ready to take on some dragons! Okay, that's looking pretty decent. Is there... anywhere else that needs a little bit of other color? I don't think so. Okay, so really quick, what we're going to do is we're going to grab this Blood Angels Red. We're going to get a tiny amount onto our brush. And I want to dot I was so shaky there. Okay, got that. The red's done. This front wheel needs more gray. I keep staring at it going, that is like sickly pale. Good lord. Okay, since we need a little bit of this anyways for our Aquila, let's go ahead and first spread that around a little bit. Need way too much water. That's looking a little better. It was so pale. It was really bothering me. Okay. With that done, we need a little bit of this color. I just saw like a hair, like a cat hair. Hold on, I have a cat hair in my brush. Got it. Oh, I just whacked my light. Ow. Owie. Be careful of where you're moving your arms in your studio space so that you don't accidentally whack yourself. Okay, what was I doing? I was working on the Aquila. There we go. That was what I was doing.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I whacked my light.
Was that squeak you or
Yes.
the light?
No, that was me. That was me going... I just got very high-pitched.
Do you need ice?
No. It was not that high. It was not that hard. It was more just I made a ridiculous noise. It startled me more than anything else. That's right, you back out of here slowly. You sneak out of here. Go. Thank you for being concerned. I love you. Alright. That... I thought I just pulled paint off and, like, completely... Now, see, that would be cool, Michael, to see someone, like, have it painted on sprue and then framing it. That sounds really cool, because then you're making it more into, like, a slightly more unique art space. I just realized that my palette for my paint has just progressively gotten more and more on screen. Let me just shift that out of the screen. Thank you! I'm really happy with it. Although I just saw some place where I missed some green, so hold on. There we go. That fixes that. Let's make sure to get behind the tire. You don't want to forget that. Let's go ahead and spread a little bit more green paint there. It got a little splotchy, and we can fix that with some evening there. There we go. Looks good. Let's do that. I am going to also... Okay, so we've taken care of the gray. We have fixed the Aquila. We need to take care of that screen. We're going to do that last. First, there are some cables. And I'm just going to do them up in black. Can you guys see this? Yeah, okay. I need a little bit more black paint. There we go, that's showing up a little better. I think I had a little too little paint on my brush. Okay, we got that cable, and then it continues up the side here. That is lovely. I'm gonna put a little bit of a second layer over this. It's very pale. Alright, that's a bit better. Also looking a little pale. Oh god, oh god. So much water just rolled down my brush. Where did you even come from? Everything's fine. Let's try that again, this time without dripping water. There we go. That is better. There's like a random white dot there. Let's get rid of that. I think I am complete. Oh, no. Just kidding. The screen. I haven't forgotten, I swear. I almost did, but I haven't. I want Talisar blue. So I want to make it a blue screen. I want to make it blue, or should I make it red? Chaos Cultist! Blue or red screen? Blue or red screen where he's getting orders? There's a little screen here.
Yeah.
So I did red
What does
on
chat think?
Chat, what do you guys think? Do you think I should do the little screen in red or in a blue?
Which is my way of saying I think either would be fine.
Honestly, that's probably fair, but I'll ask you guys. Hey, everybody in chat. Also, while you guys answer my question, I'll answer Zakari's question. Okay. Go! Answer my question. Do you want a blue or red screen? Zakari, you have a question. Do you have a miniature of Logar or of his Space Marines? I do not. I do not have Logar. I do not have any of his Space Marines. That is unfortunately not a faction that I have collected. Oh my gosh, everybody is saying blue. I was honestly expecting everybody to go red. All right, blue it is. I like blue. We've gotten more votes for blue than we have red. I'll let it keep going a little bit. I need to figure out how to do polls later in chat. That would be yes, the blue screen of death. Okay, you know what? I'm sold. I'm sold on the blue. I am sold on the blue. He's actually not getting orders at all from this screen. It's just a blue screen of death. Windows has crashed on him. All right, let's do this. Let me get on screen so you guys can see this beautiful blue. I love Talisar blue. I think it's like one of the best blues Contrast has made, although there are some good new ones. Oh my god, look at it. Yes. Alright, I think that is looking good. I got a tiny bit of blue on the side, so let me see if I can gently clean that up without completely fucking myself over. Yes, excellent. There's a tiny, tiny dot of white in there where it should be green. I'm being so delicate because I don't want to accidentally pick up the blue paint. No, I'm just going to keep picking up the green paint that I left there. Oh god, I had it. I had it. Come on. I had it. Is it? I fixed it. I fixed it. I fixed it, everybody. No one panic. Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pull back out that red I had because there's a big button here and I want it to be the Doom button. Alright. Delicately make this button red. I am done! Yes! Okay, I think that is going to go ahead and wrap today's stream. I'm really happy with how this has turned out. I'm sure there may be a little bit of touch-up that I might need to do on some of the green areas, but I'm going to come back to that here in a bit after I've let it dry a bit more thoroughly. And I'm really pleased with how this is looking. So the only steps that I have left to do are weathering the stuff, which should not actually take me that long. I'm going to do that in a little bit. Not off camera. I'll be doing it on camera, but off stream. But I really am very pleased with how this has turned out. And honestly, outside of the red and the blue that we added in for a couple of details, it was 3 colors. It was Militarum green, Black Templar, and Basilicanum gray. That's it. And it looks amazing. I absolutely love contrast paint for that reason. I just feel like you can get such amazing things with a lot of texture and variety with natural highlights and shadows without having a lot of effort and using a lot of paints, which is just super, super nice. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I cannot believe that there were like 85 of you watching this. That blows me away and makes me so happy. So just thank you no, we don't give a shit about Chat GPT. Go away. Ads. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you had a lot of fun. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I know I've been rambling and saying that for a little bit, but I'm actually going to sign off now. So thank you guys. And don't forget that this is going to be something that I'm trying to do going forward. I really do like the idea of having moments where I'm able to work on my tutorial videos with you guys outside of just having it be the sort of straight, just like normal way that I've been filming it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I don't know which sections are going to end up being used in the video, but some of y'all might be able to see yourselves in chat. So enjoy that. And yeah, I will see you guys all next time. Thank you again once more for being here. And to anybody that's watching this later on YouTube, extra huge thank you to you for watching this afterwards when it's on demand. It really blows my mind how much you guys enjoy watching this content. So just, again, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!